In this video, I'm going to teach you about classes in object-oriented programming, so let's get started. Let's say you have an NPC. It has its own data, like health, walk speed, and let's say it can attack, so it has an attack function. Now what if you need 10 or 100 NPCs? You'd have to write that same attack code for every single one. That's way too much duplicate code. That's exactly why, to prevent duplicate code, object-oriented programming gives us classes. But what is a class? A class is just a container. It contains code in a certain structure. Inside it, we store keys for data and functions, which we call behavior. From a single class, we create multiple objects. Each object has its own data, but it uses the functions stored in the class when needed, instead of every object having its own separate copy of the function. I know that might not fully click yet. It's a bit of a tricky concept, so let's understand by creating an actual class. Since a class is a container with code written in a specific structure, the first step is to create a table. Here I'll create a table called NPC. Next, we write this line. We do this because we want NPC to work as the meta table for other tables later. Then, inside the NPC table, we store a function named new. Inside that function, we set some parameters, let's call them A, B, C. Now, inside new, we create a local variable called self. You can use a different name here if you want. Self is just common convention. We set self equal to a new table. Inside this self table, we store the keys related to the object. Since this is the blueprint for an NPC, let's say we're storing health, walk speed, and damage for now. We set these equal to A, B, and C respectively. After that, we set NPC as the meta table of this self table. Use the same name you chose earlier if it isn't self. Finally, we return self. That's it. That's how you build a class. What it looks like internally? If you try to picture it, the NPC table looks like this. It's our main table, and inside it holds the double_ index rule, set equal to NPC itself. And it also holds a function called new, like this. Now how do we actually create objects using this class? First, create a variable, let's call it zombie, then call the new function on it, like this. Let's walk through what happens when we call .new. Luau goes to the NPC table and looks for new function. It finds one. Inside new, a fresh self table is created. Since we passed 100, 16, 10, that means A equals 100, B equals 16, C equals 10. So health, walk speed, and damage get set to those values. Now our self table is complete. Then we connect NPC as the meta table of this self table. This finished table gets returned and stored in zombie. So now our zombie object is created and it has its own data. If we created another object, say skeleton, and passed in different values, it will run the exact same code, but end up with its own separate data. Zombie and skeleton would each look different, holding their own health, walk speed, and damage. Now, when you access the data of this zombie, like this, you'll see it prints 100. Same for skeleton. When you call its data, it prints 80. That's because each of them holds their own health, walk speed, and damage. That's how a class is built, and how objects are created from it. Right now, our object only holds data, no functions of its own. In the next video, we'll look at how objects get access to functions too.